Andrew McCART, IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted to be joined via Zoom by Jamie Moore. Jamie, first and foremost, how are you and how's the family keeping during these times?
Yeah, we're doing all right, cheers. And obviously, kids are all cooped up in a bedroom. Mike's on his PlayStation, lives on FaceTime to her mates, but they've been in training for that for the last 3 years because that's all they've done anyway. So I don't think that life hasn't changed too much for them. But I've got to be honest though, mate. Listen, it's not ideal, but I'm quite enjoying a bit of a downtime, spending time with the family. It's given me an opportunity to do stuff what I probably never would have done ever, in terms of like, my son's nearly 15 now, and the last thing he wants to do is go for a bike ride with his dad or go for a kickabout with his dad in the garden because he wants to be out with his mates. So it's got me, given me the opportunity, or give us the opportunity to do things like that where he would have never gone for a kickabout with me probably ever again. You know what I mean? So I know it's not obviously anywhere near a good situation, but you've got to try and pull the positives out of the bad situation, and that's what I'm trying to do. And like I say, I'm quite enjoying spending a bit of time with the family.
That's funny you said that, because after this interview, I'm actually going on a huge bike ride with my son. My son's 14, so I just managed to get a hold of a bike for myself, and I'm just going to recycle. So you've got to look at the positive side of things, which is what we're doing here. But I've got you on this because I want to talk some boxing. Now, I've got to be honest, when Dave Allen posted that tweet saying he's going to work with you from now on, you're going to be his new coach on April Fool's Day, I didn't believe it until the 3rd of April. It took me 2 days to believe it. I thought I just brushed it off as an April Fool's joke, and I was like, "That shit, is this actually true?" Just talk to me about how this came about, you and Dave Allen.
Well, we didn't even realise it was April Fool's Day, to be honest, and it wouldn't have counted because it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon anyway. But I feel over the last couple of years, Dave's, people have been copying me into Dave's posts on social media, basically just saying, I think why don't you go and train with Jamie? I think you get the best out of you. He's got a great bunch of lads in the gym. The atmosphere looks like it'll suit you. Loads of different reasons why boxing fans thought that he should come train with me. And I'd always sort of thought about it. If he did ask me the question, what would I say? And even though we're really busy, and it is difficult to take on people when you're so busy, because it's not fair on the other lads, because you can spread yourself too thin sometimes. But Nigel helps me out when we've got a good balance and we've got a bit of a rota system going, so it works well. And now Tommy's retired, there was sort of an opening to allow somebody else to come in. But I wanted to make sure it was the right person. And he just sent me a direct message asking for my phone number. And I sort of had an idea what it was about, and had a chat with Nige, asking what he thought. I was saying that I think he'd be a good fit, and I feel like we can help him out. The other lads will their knowledge and their experience and him being around them in the gym will help him out as well. And he agreed. So he rang me the next day. We had a bit of a conversation. And agreed to take him on. Usually, to be honest, the fighter would say, "Can I come down and have a trial? Can I come down and see how it goes?" But I think it'd been going on that long. He'd probably thought about it long and hard before we had the conversation, and so had I. So it wasn't really a decision what I had to make. I already knew what I was going to say, and I'm looking forward to getting going.
Jimmy, you've obviously got a great stable there. You've got Jack Catterall, who's on the fringe of world level. Well, he's mandatory anyway. You've got Carl Frampton, 2-time world champion, 2-weight world champion. You've got Chantel Cameron as well, who's there or thereabouts. You've got a great little stable going on now. So you wouldn't take Dave Allen on if you didn't think he would go somewhere. So how far do you think he can go? Do you think he can get British level, possibly European?
I think he can definitely win the British title. But just to correct you a little bit there, and that's not my the way I do things, to be honest with you. It's of no concern to me how far I think someone can go.
All right.
I promise you. My thing is, I love helping people try and achieve whatever they want to achieve in the career, obviously in boxing. But I like helping people out anyway in general, because throughout, in every walk of life, every now and again, you come across someone and they need a bit of an helping hand. It might be someone's sweaty pea short in the change in the shop while they're trying to pay for something. So little things like that, I just think it's great. I love the little gestures of throw thing. So I love helping people out. So I don't care how far Dave Allen goes or any of my fighters. All I care about is trying to help them achieve their potential and whatever they want to achieve, because they're the ones who have got to have the goals. I don't have goals for them. They've got to have their own goals. And then once they tell me what they want to do, then I'll go, listen, I'll try my utmost to help you achieve what you want to do. So I like Dave Allen. He's a nice guy, and he's probably a bit of a lost soul, and I really want to help him out as much as I can, because I believe he's got massive potential. But if he only wins, you know, the next 2 fights and the 6 rounders, yet he finds his path in life and he gets it, puts him on the right foot, and then he's successful in the rest of his life. And that little turning point was coming to my gym for 6 months and winning 2 6-rounders, but it set him on the right path for the rest of his life. I'll be happy with that. You know, it's not always all about boxing. Sometimes it's just about life in general. So that's the reason why I like to do things like that. But I definitely, he's more than capable of winning a British title. I'd FaceTimed him last week, had a long conversation, because I'd like watching him fight, and I enjoyed watching him because he's a character, and, you know, he's always entertainment, good value for money. But I'd never really studied him technically and looked what he was good at, you know, where improvements, what he could make. So I've been downloading his fights off the Sky Planner and watching them through. He's got massive potential. And just listening to his conversations with Danny, young Danny, who he trains, he's got a really good boxing brain. So I think it's more of a confidence thing, a belief thing, in being a bit fitter and more motivated, being around good fighters. All those little ingredients will all add together to make him a better fighter, I believe. And I'm just looking forward to trying to get the ball rolling with him and seeing the impact what it has on him, because I feel like it'll have a big impact.
Dave Allen can fight. There's no 2 questions about that. We've seen it with Nick Webb fight, when that shot, the Lucas Brown fight. You know, he sort of comes and goes, so to speak. He puts on the performance of his life, and then the next time he might not. Do you think he needs that structure? You said yourself, having Carl Frampton and guys like Jack Catterall around him, even yourself, a former fighter who's been there and done it, he needs that sort of structure in his sort of like boxing life to go on and fulfill his potential.
I think it's still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Someone's trying to ring me then. So I think in terms of that, there's a fine line between getting it right and wrong, and every fight is different, and this is the thing. So Carl Frampton, for instance, he needs a 12-week regimented, sort of almost military-like, I'm away in camp, I need to get focused and, you know, have my mind on the job. Yeah, he likes having a crack, and the gym suits him in that sense, but he has to be away to do it and focus, because otherwise there's too many distractions around his normal life. Some people like to be close to home and more relaxed in that sense. Tommy Coyle, for instance, he could never stay in Manchester because it just didn't suit him. He's a home bird, so he'd prefer to travel to Manchester. But you have to have that laid back sort of atmosphere to get the best out of him, because if it's too sort of serious and military, or, you know, that sort of setup, you don't get the best out of him. I feel that Dave's temperament, or I feel like he's looked at boxing in the past and probably thought, this is a serious game. If I'm going to do it, if I'm going to get the most out of my ability, I've got to take it serious. Now, that's true to a certain extent, but it depends in which angle you come at it from. And I think he's thought in the past, I'm either serious and I take it serious, or I can relax and I can have a laugh and a joke, and you know, that's my off time. I feel like you've got to try and intertwine your life and your personality with boxing. And if you don't, you'll never get the best out of yourself. And I feel like if we can get the balance right between the commitment, what he needs to show, I think a lot of the lads will rub off on him with their work ethic. So I think that's a given. Just by being around good fighters and seeing what they do, you sort of mimic their behaviour and do it anyway. So that's a good thing. He'll learn off him. So just by coming in training and then sitting back and watching the sparring, he'll learn, he'll pick things up. So, like I say, there's not one thing what's going to change him and turn him around overnight. There's a load of little ingredients, but I just feel like he can be so much better with a few little differences. And it won't be me necessarily who'll make it. It'll be in terms of like all the different ingredients, what we can give him as a team and as a gym rather than just me and myself.
You made everyone in boxing. I love Dave Allen. Everyone in boxing loves Dave Allen. He's a character. You said it yourself, but you also said there that he's a little bit of a lost soul. I watched an interview with him on Behind the Gloves with Michelle Joy Phelps, and he said sometimes he's a suicidal wreck. There's been tweets and stuff like that where Dave Allen's his mental health and the concerns about the way he is and stuff like that. Do you think that's going to play a part going forward with yourself, or do you think you can help him out in that sense?
I feel like I can help him out, and I think, you know, a lot of people struggle with mental health, and it's good to speak out and get it off your chest. And, you know, for two reasons: one, it makes you feel better, and two, it gives the opportunity for other people to get a bit of an insight in what's going on, and maybe they can help you out themselves. So I feel like, I definitely feel like I can help him out, in not necessarily to make him feel better in terms of, listen, this is how you make yourself feel better. But just by putting him on a better path and in a better mindset revolving around boxing and making him feel better about himself and growing in confidence because his fitness is better and his technical aspects is improving and he's in a good place and he feels good about coming to the gym. So one of the main things about my gym is everyone who comes there, they always say the same thing, and I feel it myself. They always say, when you walk in, you always get a good feel when you walk in the gym. The atmosphere is great. You know, you get a good vibe off it. I feel like he'll benefit just from that in itself. So I feel like I'll get the best out of him because he'll be coming to somewhere, a place of work, to do something what's not easy. It's physically so tough, but it feels good doing it, even though it's so tough. And then as a knock-on effect, then when he goes away, instead of him walking away going, fucking hell, it's horrible, this. He'd be walking out the gym door going, that was hard, that, but what a fucking good crack that was. You know, we had a really good laugh, but it was hard as fuck. And that's the best way to do it.
I think Nigel's going to be a big part in that because Nigel's the crack, isn't he? I mean, we see all your videos from your gym. Sometimes it's not even about the boxing. It's all about getting skegged. You know what I mean? It's all about the banter and stuff that you've all got. And it's a great gym to be around. So, again, that could help. You know what I mean? Like you said. I've got to say about it must have been 6-7 months ago, he was chasing the Daniel Dubois fight. Now, we've seen Dave Allen pick fights, Ortiz, White. He's picked these tough names, Yoka fight as well. But he's picked these big names just for the sake of picking them. He's not really getting in it with a full camp or anything like that. With the right camp, with yourself, with the right sort of training and all that sort of stuff, do you think he can be that Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, sort of, maybe even Martin Bacoli level?
He's got the potential to be any of those fighters you just spoke about, because from our conversation, what we had, he's never really trained properly for a fight, which is crazy when you think about some of the wins what he's had, and you know, can he win the British title? Yeah, can he beat Daniel Dubois tomorrow? I'm not sure because I don't really know what I'm working with yet, but going off his past performances, you'd say no. But going off his potential from what I've seen, he can beat somebody like that. Definitely, there's no two ways about it. He's got potential to do it. He just has to put the work into it. But that's what I'm saying about, I think in the past, he's overthought too much about, if I'm going to dedicate myself so much, it's going to be a lot of loneliness, a lot of long hard days, and I can't do it. That doesn't have to be the case. You can still put the work in and get the work done while you're getting yourself debagged in the gym, you know, and that's that's the thing. You have to. That's what I was talking about before, about trying to get life from your boxing. Boxing's the most difficult, toughest game you'll ever be involved in. But I was the same. I used to get a lot of bollockings off Oliver sometimes and Steve Wood. Come on, take it more serious. And the reason I couldn't take it serious, because if I did, it'd get me down. And I needed to see the lighter side of things during the toughest times, because that was my mental way of coping with the difficult times. So I think my experiences as a fighter is helping me cope with them situations, different situations with different fighters. Some of them don't need help. Some of them are really mentally strong. Marty Murray, you'll never meet a more mentally tougher man in your life than Marty Murray. Mm-hmm. And, literally. So he doesn't need my help in that sense. Whereas there's some fighters do, they need just to hold their hand. It's not that they're any less capable as a fighter of Marty Murray. It's just that they haven't got his mindset, and sometimes you need to guide him to it and help him to it.
I want to just jump on like the other fighters in your gym. I mean, I want to touch on Jack Catterall, because I sort of like feel sorry in a way for Jack, because he has been mandatory, and he seems to be like, that cat's been dangled in front of him for so long, but the Ramirez fights, he seems to get further and further away, obviously with the virus now and stuff like that. How hard are you going to push for Jack? Is his next fight going to be for a world title, or are we going to see him in another sort of warm-up fight before we get that opportunity?
This is the thing, and I'm so sick for Jack Catterall. And, you know, when you talk about mental toughness, the situation he's been in now for over 18 months, it's heartbreaking. You know, when you think you work all your life to get yourself into the position where Jack is, and for it to be offset and really through nobody's fault, it's just bad timing. And the situation with the mandatories, unification fights, the governing bodies putting their mandatory being pushed forward first, it's just literally bad timing. And but I cannot fault Jack Catterall for his work ethic and his commitment during all this time. He's been in the gym every other day at least, even when he's not had a fight. And like I say, I think about the atmosphere in the gym, I think that's helped him a lot, because it allows him to come somewhere where he's enjoying himself. You know, he's enjoying being there during a horrendous time for him. Mm-hmm. So it's not been easy for him. But talk about focus and commitment during a time when it's the hardest time to have it, I can't fault him. So I think moving forward now, this break in a strange sort of way might help him, because the WBO are going to be forced into pushing this fight now. Mm-hmm. There was a little bit of talk just before the lockdown about him getting an interim title shot because of this delay with the unification fight. So even though that's not ideal, you know, he's earning him money and he's keeping him busy at a decent level, because I wouldn't want him to have
keeps his name out there as well, doesn't it? It keeps his name there at the world stage, doesn't it?
It does, but at the same time, if you're going to box for an interim title, you've got to pick someone out of the top 10. Mm-hmm. And you don't want him to go and pick someone out of the top 50 in the world as a ticking over fight, because it sort of undoes some of the hard work, what we've done over the last 18 months, 2 years since he's been with us. He's really progressed and come on loads, and I don't want him to go backwards. I want the opposite. I want him to move forward. That was the reason why we took the match for him last time in Dubai. It was a difficult match, that, and it was a risky one. But I knew that was the sort of opponent what I'd bring out the best in Jack and make him perform and make him put the work ethic in the gym, because he was a dangerous opponent, and he knew that if he took his eye off the ball, potentially could come unstuck. So hopefully he can get the interim title fight if he can't get the shot, and that way, as soon as he gets his opportunity against the winner of Ramirez and Pistol, then he'll be ready to win the belt rather than just get his opportunity.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Another fighter called FRAMPTON. I mean, that world title fight looked to be, I don't know how far the discussions went. Was any contract signed or anything like that with him and Jamal Herring? But I mean, how's Carl's mindset going forward now?
Yeah, I think he's all right. You know, I've spoken to him a couple of times. He seems like he's in a good place. The delay could benefit him in a way. You know, with Herring, they're both not young, but Herring's a little bit older. He's the bigger guy. You know, Carl's moving up a weight, so he's not going to struggle with the weight. I don't think Herring struggles at weight too severely. He's just built in that way, looks after himself. He's a former Marine. So, but timing and, you know, your distance, your judgment of distance and everything goes off the longer you're out of the ring and the older you get. So in a strange sort of way, it might help Carl away in a way. But as far as I know, in terms of the deal, they'd come to an agreement to do the fight at Windsor Park, and they'd agreed monies and stuff like that. They was short of signing the contracts. So the deal's in place. It's just a case of getting the lockdown uplifted, and then they can sit back down and just do the final touches to it. So I think depending on how long the lockdown keeps going, because obviously the longer it goes, if you're talking about October, November, then it's probably not going to make sense to do Windsor Park because everyone will be wrapped up in the duffel coats and stuff.
Well, the Madison Square Garden was spoke about. I think I read somewhere. Was it Madison Square Garden they're talking now? Yeah,
it has been mentioned. And, you know, I spoke to NTK, the management team, and they're sort of focused on Windsor Park, and that's the only option at the moment. And then obviously, if it drags on, then they'll have to cross that bridge when it comes to it. But the sole focus at the moment is Windsor Park and Carl FRAMPTON becoming freeweight world champion in Belfast.
Wow, that'd be amazing. Again, I want to just quickly touch on Aqib Fayaz. How good is this kid? Quickly, I mean, he must be. I seen you said a tweet out.
Yeah, mate, he's a very, very talented kid and potential to go very far. You get rave reviews. I mean, the reason he came to us is because we had him as the main sparring partner for Carl when he boxed Josh Warrington. Because I asked Nige to get me an amateur kid who would put it on Carl for 4 rounds, basically. That's all I asked for. Because I wanted someone to throw in after he'd had a tough sort of maybe 6 rounds later on during the sparring to really give it Carl to sort of get him ready for the intensity what Josh Warrington would bring. And the first time he sparred with Carl, a minute into the spar, I was like, Jesus Christ, this kid can fight. And Nige said, this is the kid who wants to turn pro with us. So I was like, well, I'd knocked him back. I'd said no because he was too busy. Yeah. But I said, listen, we'd have had him all day. So in the January, he came back to me. He asked me if he could come, and I said, yeah. He sparred with a guy in Vegas who was an ex-world champion. His name escapes me. He's a southpaw, real good fighter, more than held his own. And he'd only had 2 fights at that point in time. So he's got loads of potential, loads of work to do, you know, but he's only 5-0. But I know if he stays on the path he's on, he keeps improving the way he's improving, and his work ethic stays the same, he'll be a world champion in 3 years' time.
Have I missed anyone? Chantel Cameron, Martin Murray, are you still doing their thing?
Chantel, Rocky's doing his own deals now with Chavez Jr. It looks like they're going to fight.
I've seen that, so,
yeah, I've got Sean McGoldrick. Sean McGoldrick's obviously sat around just waiting. Mark Leach, he was doing a Commonwealth title eliminator, and he was the next fight to go out of our gym when the lockdown sort of got put in place. So Sean McGoldrick missed it, you know, just got his fight in. He was the last fight before it all got shut down. So Mark had put all that work in for no end result. But I think that's it. I think that's everyone.
That's everyone. Well, before I let you go, Jamie, I've seen these 3 trophies behind you. Just talk me through these 3 trophies that are behind you, if you don't mind.
So this is me Wall of Shame. So that's me Michael Jones Fight of the Year trophy. The Matthew Macklin one. Ryan Rhodes, but we don't talk about that one because I lost that one.
Oh, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Come on.
And then Commonwealth title, European title, and Lonsdale belt. And then this one here is just a recognition award from the boxing board when I retired, in recognition of his outstanding career. So not like I'm showing off or anything, and do you know what I mean?
That was me. I put you on the spot though, Jim. That was my fault. I put you on the spot. You know. 3 Fight of the Year awards, man. That just proves what a fighter you were. Man. You must admit that.
Yeah. Well, it also proves why I was retired at 30 years old, mate.
Well, there you go. See, there's always that sort of like glass half full.
That sort of style doesn't make for a long career. It's always got short career, but exciting, written all over it. So
as a fan, it makes me good as a fan to watch your fights. I think I've seen your Macklin fight probably about easily 10, 15 times. Easily.
Yeah. Every time I watch it, especially the 9th round, I always sit there thinking, how the fuck did you do that? Literally, he's just crazy. But I've got to say, we talk about stuff like that. It makes you proud because, and that's the reason why I want to help fighters as much as I possibly can, because I understand how difficult it is and how tough it is to achieve what you want to achieve. So when I turned pro, I had no ambitions of winning belts because I didn't really believe in myself that much. It was Oliver Harrison who gave me the belief in myself because he believed in me. And so I realised firsthand the impact someone else's belief in you can have on you. Do you know what I mean? And I never in a million years thought I'd win a British title. And then you sort of set your goals high and set your goals higher. My only goal when I turned pro was to, I remember doing an interview with a Manchester Evening News reporter saying, listen, I don't really care what I achieve as long as everyone who works hard to buy a ticket for my fight, if they walk away and go, what a good night that was, then I'll be happy. So, job done, mate.
Job done, mate. And on that note, thanks for doing this interview. I mean, always good to speak to you, Jamie, as always. Hopefully this lockdown eases off a little bit and we can start getting back to what we both love. And God bless you and your family. Hope you stay safe, my man.
You too, man. Top man. Take care, mate.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Speak to you soon, my man. Thank you.
God bless.